Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 2nd, 2017. The mainstream media is now reporting that the March 30th Interstate 85 Atlanta, Georgia fire was caused by a homeless man smoking crack under the freeway. This is 100% propaganda made purposefully racist to create a very bogus excuse for the very purposeful and very ritualistic fire that was set in Atlanta. The reason there is a missing square out of Interstate 85 is because a fire was truly set on purpose by your government. As I've been explaining, this nation is ruled over by psychopaths, and they are very ritualistic. They are very Freemasonic. Freemasonry believes in order out of chaos. Who knows all what plans they have coming out of this freeway fire? Maybe in the end, it will even provide some benefits for Atlanta. Maybe they'll improve their mass transit. Maybe they'll make the freeways even better. But just understand, the Freemason psychopaths, they believe in order out of chaos. They love creating these disaster rituals and then providing the solution, and also giving the people a bogus narrative, such as a homeless man smoking crack brought down, a huge chunk of interstate, a perfect square. So let's look at what they've coded into this bogus news story, and then I'm going to share with you some other information since the first video I uploaded the day of the incident. If you missed the first video I did the day it happened, I showed how this was a ritual very much tied to Super Bowl 51, which the Atlanta Falcons lost in, and a tribute to the upcoming Super Bowl 53 that the city of Atlanta is hosting. This fire came 53 days after the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about what Interstate 85 has to do with Atlanta, Georgia, and the National Football League, plus more. There was a lot of riddles in this ritual. So they're saying the homeless man who was smoking crack that brought down the interstate, they're saying his name is Basil Ellaby. And look at how the name sums to 38, just like the word fire. Not a coincidence. This is a made-up name for this story. If it's not a made-up name, which it most likely is, this is a man who was targeted and is essentially being blackmailed to play the patsy in this story. This might be somebody that has some dirt on him, so they pull Basil aside and they say, you're going to take responsibility for this freeway fire, Basil. Basil could have mental handicap, who knows what else. We've seen what tricks the media does. Remember that bogus story a couple years ago in San Francisco? The illegal immigrant found a federal agent's gun wrapped in a towel on the pier, picked it up and shot a woman. And then they said his name was Juan Francisco Sanchez Lopez, the most ridiculous fucking name you could ever come up with. 4 common Hispanic names. Anyway, that guy, that Hispanic guy, they put him on the TV, and he was giggling and laughing, and it was very clear he didn't seem to speak English or had some serious mental problem. The whole story was just bogus bullshit. They got this mentally handicapped man on the TV to blame it on. Could be the same thing here with old Basil. Who knows? But the point is, it's all propaganda. It's all by the numbers. It's all racial stereotypes. Remember, crack was created by this government to target black communities to destroy them. The crack epidemic 100% targeted black Americans. We're talking about Atlanta, a very black city. The word football also has gematria of 83, the reflection of 38. This has a lot to do with football, plus more. Remember, the date it happened was March 30th. Date with 33 numerology, 3 plus 30. Atlanta on the 33rd parallel. ATL's abbreviation 33. The word homeless equals 33. If you ever watch the show House of Cards on Netflix, there's a scene where there's a homeless woman and the man asks her, how long have you lived on this block for? And she goes, I've lived on this block for 33 years. And she's homeless. 33 years. House of Cards. That's more than a TV show. That TV show is as real as your news, as real as your government. That TV show's even foreshadowed a lot of news that became real news in our news before it happened. It's because the Zionist Jews, they control Hollywood, they control the media, they control your government, they control the money. So essentially they control this whole world. And they do. The Zionist Jews are the New World Order. Also, with regards to 33, false flag equals 33. In this article, they're now blaming it on HDPE, a form of plastic. They're saying his crack rock caught the HDPE on fire, which sums to 33. And if you read the full article, there's also a person saying that this is impossible, that you couldn't just set a huge fire with HDPE by dropping a match on it or a crack pipe. They said it would take a very concerted effort, which is exactly what we had because this was a ritual and 100% intentional. Let's just read CNN's reporting, CNN down in Atlanta. The man accused of arson in a massive fire that collapsed part of Interstate 85 in Atlanta discussed smoking crack with two others before the blaze started, an arrest affidavit shows. So 3 people on the 33 date. Basil Alebi is charged with first-degree arson and criminal damage to property, authorities said. Alebi had his 2 companions, Sophia Bruner, which sounds like burner, and Barry Thomas. You know what? I didn't check their names. Let's check their names real quick. Sophia Bruner. 70. Like Falcons. I forget. Fire. Okay, so her name connects to Falcons and Fire. We got Sophia Bruner. Who else are we missing? Barry Thomas. Let's check it out. Barry Thomas. Barry Thomas. Super Bowl has a connection to 50. America has a connection to 50. Let's see. Is arson 67? It is. And it's arson. So Barry Thomas. See, this is how they do. They make up all the names. Barry Thomas, 67, like arson. The other woman's name, like fire, like Falcons. This is how it is. You learn the language of gematria. You see how they make up this bogus propaganda. Alebi and his 2 companions, Sophia Bruner and Barry Thomas, are believed to be homeless. They were arrested in connection with Thursday evening's fire, said Jay Florence, the state safety fire commissioner. Don't be surprised if Jay Florence is the guy who's responsible for setting the fire. And sometimes these Masons, your fire department, your police, it's pretty much all Masons. Let's see what the name Jay Florence equals. Maybe even he has a ritualistic name. Jay Florence, 51, came right after Super Bowl 51. 57, another number related to championships. The Patriots were in their 57th season when they beat the Falcons. Okay. An affidavit obtained by CNN shows Alebi told investigators that he and his companions talked about smoking crack cocaine under the highway overpass. He, however, decided to smoke without his companions and left before the fire started, the affidavit said, citing his statement. But one of the people with him disputed his account. Thomas watched Basil Alebi place a chair on top of a shopping cart, reach under the shopping cart, and ignited it. The affidavit said without providing details. It's just all bullshit. Thomas watched Basil Alebi place a chair on top of a shopping cart? I mean, we know about homeless people in shopping carts. These are all just, stereotypes, bogus nonsense. What, you put a shopping cart on top of a chair and then you can burn down an interstate? This shit's no different than 9/11, people. Do you remember what they told you on 9/11? They told you they couldn't find the planes in New York, but they found paper passports, box cutter knives, and cloth turbans, like my beanie. Can you imagine not finding a plane, but you found my beanie? That's what they told you on 9/11. This is what's wrong with this world, that people keep accepting this bullshit. So he's being charged with first-degree arson, which has gematria of 84. Atlanta sits on the 84th meridian. This has a lot to do with the Super Bowl. The Falcons have now been in 2 Super Bowls, 33 and 51. What happens when you add those numbers together? 84. 84, the number of the Jesuits. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, has the Jesuit order's birthday. The Jesuit colors are red, white, and black like the Falcons wear. So first degree arson, 84, like Jesuit, like Masonry, like Zionism, like United States of America, special number. The divisors of 44 sum to 84. Wisconsin and Georgia, the only two states that sum to 44. The NFC Championship, the Falcons won with 44 points. Something I talked about more than a year before the game was played. Before the season began, I said two of my favorite teams to make it to the Super Bowl this year are the Falcons and Packers, because the date of the Super Bowl is a date with 44 numerology. And then lo and behold, we saw the Packers beat the Falcons with 44 points. So no injuries, new reality. You've seen the news footage. You see what the vehicles do. A bunch of vehicles just drive up and park sideways. I guarantee you all those vehicles were part of the planned demolition. Part of the people really responsible. This is a ritual. When they do these rituals, I truly do think they try to minimize casualties. They don't want people to get hurt because then you'll get families investigating what's really going on. Not everyone's so stupid to believe that a homeless person smoking a little crack under the bridge could bring down millions of dollars of concrete and asphalt. So here they're talking about the HDPE. It was stored there from 2006 or 2007, so 11 or 10 years. We know how the powers that shouldn't be love their 11. And we also know how long they planned their rituals for. September 11th. Those buildings were truly built with the bombs in them. All built with the plan of coming down on September 11th, 2001. This is the way the powers that shouldn't be work. They plan their things out way in advance. Your sports leagues are all planned and scripted. Your news is all planned and scripted in accordance with it, what I've been explaining for 3 years. So anyway, they're going to have the crack smoker go to court April 14th, 14/4, like time, that special time. Look at how they clown us. They emphasize this word kaboom. Highway fell with a big kaboom, 33. Because this was a 33 false flag ritual. I noticed that Atlanta's mass transportation is referred to as MARTA, which has gematria 53. Again, this fire came 53 days after the Super Bowl. Is it possible that transportation will ultimately improve in Atlanta because of this ritual? Perhaps. This is the way the powers that shouldn't be work. Make people suffer before they get, the improvement or the reward or the solution. Also, the word crack has gematria of 99. The Falcons are hosting Super Bowl 53, which is at the end of the 99th season. Remember, New England equals 99. I expect we're going to see New England and Tom Brady at 41 years of age in that Super Bowl. Talk about 41 in Super Bowls in a moment. Smoking crack also has gematria of 74, like Masonic, like Jewish, like occult. One of their major ritual numbers, the World Trade Center, is on the 74th meridian and not by coincidence. So again, here it is. The Super Bowl on 2/5, where the Falcons gave up the scripted 25-point lead. There can't be anyone in the world left who thinks the NFL's not scripted, right? I mean, everybody saw the end of Super Bowl 51. The Falcons in command of the game, about 2 minutes left, first down around the Patriots' 20-yard line. All they had to do was just run the ball 3 straight times, milk the clock, make Patriots use their timeouts, kick a field goal, and then they're up 2 scores. But instead, what did they do? Drop way back to pass, take a sack, throw an incomplete pass, stop the clock. Just fucking stupid. I mean, you have to be retarded to think this is real. Did the Falcons not want to win the Super Bowl? They didn't want to win the Super Bowl. They weren't to win the Super Bowl. The only reason they were in the Super Bowl is because the whole fucking league's scripted. From start to finish, as I explained. The coach of the Falcons, his birthday is September 11th, 911. On the day of this Atlanta fire, the Pentagon released new 9/11 images. Let's not forget, Pentagon construction began on September 11th, 1941. We're going to talk about 41, what it has to do with this nation, this interstate fire. Anyway, from Super Bowl 51 and its very stupid and rigged finish, which I predicted before it happened. I said why the Patriots were going to win and why it was all about 25 before the game was even played. Just like how yesterday I said why Gonzaga and North Carolina should win and why it's all about 77. And then both teams won with 77 points. Oh, truth seeker. You know, I hate to pat myself on the back, but if we lived in a world of people who didn't live with their head up their ass, I probably would be the most famous person in the world for what I've shown in the last 3 years. You know, I've probably shown more in the last 3 years than any person ever walked the planet shown in their lifetime. Even the great philosophers you go and, you know, spend all this money to learn about in college that might have never even existed. Anyway, 53 days later, the bullshit fire, the Falcons hosting Super Bowl 53. Look at the gematria of Atlanta, Georgia. 85, like National Football League 85. You know, the National Football League, born in Chicago. The Chicago Bears haven't won the Super Bowl since the 85 season. This is why Interstate 85 burned, at least in part. I'm going to show you a little bit more about 85. It's not a coincidence the Atlanta Braves won 8-5 in their new stadium the day after this game. But right here, Interstate, which burned, has gematria 41 and 131, like Super Bowl, 41 and 131. And with regards to 41, special number to this nation, USA equals 41. On September 11th, 2001, the date had 41 numerology. 9 plus 20 plus 01 equals 41, right? They blame the terrorist attack on Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda, this made-up thing that doesn't exist. Paid for mercenaries by your government. Al-Qaeda 41 on 9/11/2001. Pentagon construction began September 11th, 1941. And the Pentagon, for a little more, just show you this. The Pentagon sits on the 77th meridian. The Pentagon is 77 feet tall. They said Flight 77 hit the Pentagon on September 11th, and they said it hit the Pentagon exactly 77 minutes after it took off. Besides the Pentagon, the other big target was the World Trade Center, which equals, can you guess, 77. These numbers are important to the secret society that rules over us, the Freemasons. It's also a number of power. And the Freemasons have power, they're exploiting their power. Notice the 58 connection, Freemasonry. 58, secret society. 58 and 77. You look at all that was coded into the World Trade Centers, a whole lot of 166 as well. Another special number. But anyway, 41. We're establishing 41. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Tom Brady at age 41 playing in this Super Bowl in the 99th season in Atlanta after he beat them in Super Bowl 51. Look at the gematria of New England. 99, like this 99th season. If you write out 13, it sums to 99. And real quick, I want to show you how 41 also connects to 13. 41's the 13th prime number. Think about how USA is 41. It began with 13 colonies, 13 stripes. The word fire also has the connection to Falcons. 25 point comeback on 2/5. You know? They kept talking about the Piedmont area. Stay away from the Piedmont exit when the fire was going on. That has 42 and 96, number of the Freemasons. I also caught that the day that the Interstate got smoked, so did the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in the NIT, the lesser college men's basketball tournament. Yellow Jackets in Gematria sums to 161 like phi, and it is very interesting that this fire came exactly 161 days, or 5 months and 8 days, before the start of the upcoming NFL season, which is when the new Falcons Stadium will open. 161 days. Georgia sports, seemingly a major part of this ritual. Also, check this out. If you write out Interstate-85, it sums to 113. This year, baseball starting today, this year will end in the 113th World Series. The fire happened March 30th, the 89th day of the year. Atlanta Braves equals 89. And the next day they would open their new stadium and win 8-5 over the New York Yankees, where 9/11 happened. Again, the coach of the Falcons, Dan Quinn, his birthday is September 11th. So here's what else I caught. Do you remember the Oakland fire? That was a ritual set on purpose, connected to the world of sports. Go back and watch my video. I even said, watch the Raiders win with 38 points tomorrow, and they did. And that was the day after the Oakland fire. Look, I'll just show you. Fire equals 38, like we said. So does Raiders. The day after the news of the Oakland fire, the Raiders with 38 points. The Raiders were down 15 before their comeback. 15 connects to 38. It's all scripted. So anyway, the day of the Oakland fire was December 2nd, right? And this also had a lot to do with the Golden State Warriors. Golden State's 122. Oakland's on the 122nd meridian, 12/2 fire. Notice Golden State's 58 like Oakland. Number of Freemasonry, which we were just talking about. So that day, the day of that fire, December 2nd, the Cavs were playing the Bulls, right? Golden State Warriors, Cavs, current NBA history. The Oakland fire was a major tribute in numbers to the Great Chicago Fire, said to be one of the worst fires in the history of the nation. If you go back and watch my video on the Oakland fire, I show how everything coded into it synced up with the Great Chicago Fire, which was set by the Freemasons, by the numbers, a planned ritual then, order out of chaos. The address that the Great Chicago Fire started at was 137. 137 is the address that the Great Chicago Fire started at. Look it up. 137 is the 33rd prime. It's always been the same. The Freemasons work by the same tired code. It's why this Atlanta fire happened on March 30th on the 33rd parallel. It's why the World Trade Centers came down 33 years after construction began on the 74th meridian. Remember, Jesus and cross equals 74. Jesus on the cross at 33. It's all part of a sick ongoing ritual. Anyway, that Cavs-Bulls score, 105-111, 216 points. Cleveland 216 area code. Cleveland played the Bulls the night of the Oakland fire that was a tribute to the Great Chicago Fire. Well, look, they played them 4 times this year. They lost all 4 times to Chicago. The final time was on the night of this Atlanta fire, which happened to be 119 days later. All-Seeing Eye 119, Star of David 119, Master Plan 119, and with regards to this being connected to the Falcons 119, just like Vatican. And remember, the Falcons, their owner has the Jesuit order's birthday, the Jesuits, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church, Vatican. The Pope, his birthday was 51 days before Super Bowl 51. He gave that 51-second little speech before the Super Bowl. The Pope, the Catholic Church, they're very much connected to the world of sports. Very much. Something I document again and again. Watch my work on the college basketball tournament last year and this year. You know, we got these people figured out. So 119 days later, another ritualistic fire, and we're talking about 9/11 here, right? September 11th, Dan Quinn, the Falcons coach, born on September 11th. Just in case anyone doesn't believe me, I'll just show you right now. the NFL season last year began on September 11th, the first Sunday? Dan Quinn. What's his birthday? September 11th, 1970. Couldn't be born in a more perfect year to be the Falcons coach. So anyhow, with regards to this happening on Interstate 85, and there also being a basketball parallel here, just to show you, basketball 85. This year, the college men's tournament is in Phoenix, Arizona. And we really might see the Phoenix Cardinals in Super Bowl 52, or maybe even Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta 2 years from now. Right now, the Phoenix Cardinals, or the Arizona Cardinals, have the longest non-championship drought in sports history. They were in second place behind the Chicago Cubs until the Cubs won last year. The Cardinals are originally from Chicago. They were the Chicago Cardinals. They were the CC, like the Chicago Cubs. So we're talking about this triangulation. Chicago, that also points back to the Cardinals. In the first video I uploaded the day of, I talked about Phoenix, hot pavement, you know, the red, white, and black colors, the bird symbolism, how the Patriots have beaten the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Falcons. There's only one bird team left. It's the Cardinals, who the Patriots began their season against last year, week 1, with Jimmy Garoppolo on September 11th. Jimmy Garoppolo, 77, like September 11th. Go back and watch my video. I guaranteed why the Patriots would win that game despite them being 12-point underdogs. So look at this. I mean, here's how the fire was set. All these barrels. Look at all these barrels. They're saying these had been there since 2006 or 2007. These were all put here with this planned intention. Whatever was in them was highly flammable, probably highly toxic. I'm sure a lot of people in the area are going to have health consequences from whatever was done. Remember, all of this is carried out by the Freemasons and Zionist Jews at the top, and they don't respect humanity. They don't care about your health, your well-being, nothing. All they care about is ruling over you and exploiting you. Read the Talmud, the Jewish holy book. Only the Jews matter. Everybody else is a goy, which means they're not important. They're a lesser. They're part of the slave race that is here to serve the Jew. All written in the Talmud. So fuck your freedom of religion. Jewish people came and set up this nation so that they could have their way. This whole nation's fucking Jewish. That's why the birthday's July 4th. Just as a little reminder. Jewish, 74. Masonic history is based in Jewish history, based in occult history. They came over here and set up this nation, English speaking. English is just the latest Jewish language. It's the modern Hebrew. English, we're talking about gematria. You know, what's this nation's date of independence? 7-4, holiday 74. You want to take a gander at what Independence Day equals? Independence Day, 74. Can you say alphabetic order? 74. And it's no coincidence that alphabetic order is 137, the 33rd prime, because order equals 33. And a whole lot more. Just wait until my book comes out. Gonna blow your mind with all that's in the English alphabet. Whoops. So anyway, when they came out with this, they said there was I mean, just look at this article. They're talking about PVC pipe while showing you that there's these flammable barrels under. They're telling you what really happened while giving you something else. This is how the media treats you, because the media is all about mind control and programming, and it's meant to make people stupid and not see the obvious or think about the obvious. They're showing you flaming barrels while blaming it on PVC pipe, which doesn't make any sense. PVC equals 41. Like Interstate. Like Super Bowl. And again, go back to 2015 when I said why the Broncos would win the Super Bowl. It was all based off of an interstate story. A bogus propaganda story having to do with the California interstate. Just off that Interstate-85 is where Super Bowl 50 was hosted, where the Broncos won. And just so you know, for all you taxpayers who helped build these stadiums, when they name these stadiums, they name them for the teams that are going to win the Super Bowls there. Levi's Stadium is where the Broncos won. See the gematria of Levi's Stadium? It was Super Bowl 50, which was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era. The Denver Broncos won there. Denver Broncos, 154. 64, the reflection of 46. Remember, they painted both ends of the field for the Denver Broncos. That was a news story the week before the Super Bowl. They screwed up and painted both ends for the Denver Broncos. Same Super Bowl where Cam Newton forgot how to recover his fumble. All scripted. You got to be retarded not to see it. And that's what the Jewish people count on. They say the goys are retarded, and I got to agree with them. You know, the masses are fucking retards. No other way around it. You got to be fucking retarded to not know what's going on in America. It's hard to find anybody who's not a fucking retard in this nation. It's how they can do this. It's how they can burn down a freeway and blame it on a crack smoker and nobody even blinks an eyelash. So PVC with the pictures of the burning barrels. It's just unreal. So, you know, just adding insult to injury and par for the course, the day after the Interstate-85 fire, the Atlanta Braves win 8-5. 8-5. I got to show you something real quick. Going back to Dan Quinn, the coach of the Falcons in light of the Braves. We know what Dan Quinn's birthday is, right? I need to pull up my date duration calculator here. From Dan Quinn's birthday to the Super Bowl, if I remember this correctly, it was either this or the NFC Championship. Yeah, it was to the Super Bowl. So from Dan Quinn's birthday to the Super Bowl was 147 days, right? 147 days. And now we're seeing this freeway fire that has an overlap with the Super Bowl and baseball and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Look at this. 147. World Series equals 147. As I was explaining, there was going to, even before the baseball season was played last year and the NFL Super Bowl happened, I explained that there would be a parallel between the World Series last year and the Super Bowl because it was the 112th World Series and Houston hosted the Super Bowl. And for the record, Super Bowl also has gematria of 112. But anyway, World Series 147. Dan Quinn from his birthday to the Super Bowl, 147 days. Lost to the Patriots in their 57th season. 147 is a really special number to the Freemasons and conspiracy. And they use this number again and again and again in their rigging. I mean, look at conspiracy. It even connects to 51, Super Bowl 51, Patriots in their 57th season. The Braves this year, they are not expected to go to the World Series. And I'm going to put out a video later today on why I think the Nationals are going to be in the World Series this year. You know, 2 years ago I said why the Mets would be in the World Series. They made it. Everyone said that was crazy. The Mets had no chance. Last year I said why the Cubs would win it. I guaranteed it. They did. I said why they'd win it in Game 7 months before the World Series even began. They won it in Game 7. I said Miguel Montero would be connected to the winning run. He was. All things I called months before it happened. Because I know how the powers that shouldn't be work. So anyway, the Braves win 8-5 in their new stadium. We talked about how Atlanta Braves equals 89. The fire was on the 89th day. Interstate 85 equals 113. It'll be the 113th World Series. I expect the Nationals to be in the World Series this year, upsetting the Cubs. But if there was a team that I was just going to put if I was a gambler and I was going to put a little bit of money down on a team with huge odds, the Atlanta Braves have 1 in 120 odds of being in the World Series. If you bet $100, if you have $100 to spend on that, and the Braves end up there, what's 120 times 100? Can you do the math? Do it like this. 1 times 120 is 120. 10 times 120 is 1,200. 100 times 120 is 12,000. Honestly, if you bet $100 on the Braves, you're probably going to lose that $100. But, you know, you see a narrative like this, it could be a sign that the city of Atlanta is going to get something special back. And maybe the Braves will surprise everybody and win the World Series this year. Sometimes teams with the crazy odds make it. So we'll see. But just remember that. The Braves have a major riddle with the World Series. It could also be that they're just part of the narrative. Perhaps they'll participate in games with the team that's going to end up being there. We'll see how it all unfolds. So somebody named Med Sa also sent me this comment. The Cardinals, who share the white, red, and black colors with the Falcons, have the longest NFL championship drought dating back to 1947, or 70 years. 70 again. 70 equals 79. The original franchise was established in 1898, 119 years ago. This person is talking about the Chicago Cardinals. So the Chicago Cardinals are now 119 years old. We see these fires connected, Oakland, Atlanta, coast to coast, 119 days apart. This was a good catch by this person. You know, I was talking about in the video about the Falcons and the Cardinals, and they did a little more research and connected something huge. We were talking about the 70 already. Now we know a little more. So down below, what I'm going to link the video from the day of. Some important information there. Too bad this video only got 14,000 views, if that's even true. I mean, YouTube squashes all of my stats. Like this. I mean, have you ever seen a video with 2,000 views and nearly 200 comments? I mean, it just doesn't happen. But anyway, down below, I'll link that video. This Malcolm X video, Malcolm X explaining why the Jews are the worst people among us, preying on us, targeting us, you know, and then crying about things that never happened to them. This is the truth. Everything that I've talked about in this video, it largely comes back to Judaism. It is the Zionist Jews at the top who go by the Talmud, who think they have the right to rule over all of us, control all of us, who do this. We, the people of this nation, the Goy, need to rise up. And we need to say to the decent Jewish people, they need to show themselves and they need to speak out against what's going on within their religion. And then what we need to do is take over this nation and send the rest of these, you know, these truly cock-sucking Jews that love to suck little circumcised baby dicks. If you don't know this, the Jewish people, after they circumcise the babies, they all pass the baby around and get the blood from its dick all in its mouth, in their mouths. It's really what they do, if you didn't know that. This is a psychopath religion. Again, this is why they came over here and set up their nation. We need to get these people the fuck out of the country. You know, freedom of religion's bullshit. Religion's bullshit. Let's be a nation free from religion. That's what we need. A nation free from religion. Especially the Jewish tyrants, because they have the worst religion of them all. The Talmud. I don't even think any Jews go by the Torah anymore. The Torah is okay, but the Talmud's evil. And that's pretty much what all mainstream Judaism goes by. So yeah, we covered it all, Truth Seeker. The racism, the ritual. For any of you who are thinking about spending any money at the new Atlanta Braves Stadium, the new Falcon Stadium, I mean, you're exactly what a goy is. This is exactly what your Jewish tyrants expect from you. You know, to get fucked in your ass and then just to go right back and worship them and support them and give your money back to them. This is what they think of you. They think you're a bunch of dumb fucking idiots, can be fooled by anything, will go for anything. And they're right. That's what's awful, that they're right. So that needs to change. You know, people need to find a backbone, some courage, some common sense. Otherwise, it's just going to be like this forever. You know, Jew world order. Racism, propaganda. If anyone here is saying I'm racist, you know, you don't know what racism is. Jewish people aren't a race. They're a perversion. Until next time.